Welcome once again to Auto Mundial, the weekly home of all the latest motoring news and reviews. This week, Pininfarina shows off what it can do if, instead of designing models for other manufacturers, it put together its own hypercar from head to toe.
We've also got the latest in a long line of special Rolls-Royce commission projects.
Plus, the weather here in the UK may be getting more dreadful by the second, but we find out just how much fun there is to be had on a muddy weekend away playing with off-roaders.
That's all coming up. First though, the news.
This year, the United States of America saw the Subaru Forester receive a major overhaul in the form of its 6th generation. Perhaps a taller model now than it ever was before and more akin to other SUVs on the market, it still manages to retain a raised estate car aesthetic with rugged off-road capabilities rather than the looks of an urban runabout. Well, now it has been announced that the latest Forester will no longer be a US-specific model. A year after its initial international launch, the large Subaru will be making its way to the UK market, replacing what is now an aging 5th generation with outdated hybrid tech. The 6th generation Subaru Forester will launch in the UK in spring next year, set to sport a hybridised 2-litre petrol boxer engine, all-wheel drive and a variety of safety systems for what will be an adventure-ready family car. We will be sure to keep you up to date with everything Forester related, including pricing and specifications when they become available, so stay tuned.
Earlier this year, we presented you a stunning concept car, the BMW Skytop, taking the 8 Series overall shape and contorting it into an angular, open-top muscle car with a futuristic cabin and a collection of upmarket materials. It was a one-off design supposed to wow crowds at the 2024 Villa d'Este Concours. But ever since it hit our screens, we have been craving its arrival onto the car market. And now BMW has announced that it will be going on sale. Sort of. Following in the wheel tracks of many stunning Bavarian models before it, 50 examples of the Skytop will be available for purchase, aiming at collectors and enthusiasts. Powering the newest limited edition Beamer will be the same 625 brake horsepower V8 that sits under the bonnet of the regular M8. 8-speed automatic gearbox and all-wheel drive mean the Skytop should hit 62 from a standstill in 3.3 seconds. A high-performance BMW set to be sold in limited numbers. If you are interested in the Skytop's price when it hits dealership forecourts, we say congratulations, because it will not be cheap.
Autumn is here, and with it the UK now plunges into 7 months of seasonal depression, overlaid with a grey filter as we long for the return of the sun's vitalising rays. But this week we're determined to not let the misery of winter temperatures get us down and instead make the most of the great British countryside no matter the weather. Therefore, we've made our way to the rural, mountainous and absolutely stunning Peak District for some fun in the mud and a night of camping under the stars. Many overlanding vehicles are available on the market today, all of which will provide space for off-roading equipment and kit. But we have chosen to put a new variant of an old model through its paces, the Isuzu D-Max Base Camp Edition, a top-of-the-range AT35 model with all the bells and whistles of ARB's 4x4 camping catalogue. Immediately from the outside you can tell that this is no regular agricultural pickup. Forget the roof tent and rolled up awnings, a wide-bodied kit, aggressive bonnet protector and dazzling light bar are all enough for this behemoth of a pickup to stand out from the crowd. Those exterior decorations may make the D-Max Basecamp Edition appear oversized, but interior additions enhancing the camping experience do take away from the model's storage capabilities somewhat. All packed up and ready to take on the UK wilderness, it's time to put the Isuzu D-Max Basecamp through its paces. Certainly with its large 35-inch tyres and off-road focused suspension setup, the Basecamp was never built for road comfort or driving feel. Be it at motorway speed, sending intense wind and road noise into the cabin despite a set of eye-catching wind deflectors, or on slower B roads where the large tyre size hinders accuracy, this is not the truck for your daily commute. In fact, the wheels somehow manage to catch every minor divot and crevasse, dragging the vehicle across the road. If that wasn't enough, the D-Max's suspension setup has always been suited to a full bed with its stiffer springs. Less weight over the rear wheels make for a very bouncy ride that rapidly gets tiresome, though a bed full of heavy kit and materials will smoothen out the experience. On-road driving is, however, the perfect place to appreciate what is a very pleasant cabin aboard the range-topping D-Max. We appreciate nice buttons below the 9-inch touchscreen, though infotainment responsivity leaves a lot to be desired. Wireless charging and plenty of 12-volt sockets are nice commodities in a camping-focused truck like this, so even out on longer trips, keeping devices full of juice is no worry. Turning off the road between the Isuzu and its overnight stop atop rolling hills and tremendous views lay miles of rough terrain, from rocky tracks to steep hills and even the odd water splash.
Cruising along in traffic on tarmac roads may not be the D-Max AT35's strong suit, but that is simply due to the compromises it makes for off-road capabilities. One simple look at the model's stance and you should immediately work out that this is all about making rugged tracks feel like a walk in the park. And in actual fact, it does. The large tyres and suspension cope fantastically with large rocks poking out of the track, so you don't get chucked around the cabin as much as you would think. Additionally, the four-wheel drive system puts power down nice and smoothly, meaning we saw very little use of the model's low range even on steeper inclines. Be it on or off-road, the automatic gearbox was not our greatest friend during our time with the Basecamp. Lazy to shift up and lurchy in all-wheel drive mode, it often leaves the engine gargling nails at over 3,000 RPM. Not exactly an efficient motoring experience. With a pair of impressive light bars front the truck capable of turning night into day, arriving before nightfall was far from a concern, but we did eventually make it to our overnight destination, leaving us but one job: set up shop and tuck in for the night. Alongside its AT35 specification, the Basecamp gets a collection of outdoor living accessories from ARB 4x4. This includes a roof tent complete with hard shell, hefty roof rack for all your luggage, because your boots certainly won't pack much, and a side-mounted awning that doubles up as an outdoor shower. The ARB catalogue also makes for a full kitchen tucked away in drawers below the elevated boot floor, providing a sink and 3-ring stove. If you're anything like us, you may be wondering what's in the box. No, it isn't a prop from the movie Seven. It is indeed a fridge freezer, so it's fair to say we didn't starve on our trip. For the most part, the Basecamp's camping attire is relatively easy to set up. Unlock a trio of rubber clips and the roof tent flings open. As for the set of kitchenware, all your cooking amenities lie within the drawers and fold out with ease to make for a practical outdoor cookery. We did, however, have issue putting together the side-mounted awning and shower. Be prepared for the strength exercise that is hooking the fabric awning over its metal supports. But really, after hours of fun tackling some of the UK's more rugged landscape and taking in these fantastic views, how could small details like this frustrate you for more than a few minutes?
A one-off creation compiling all of the top-of-the-line offerings available for the Isuzu D-Max, the base camp edition itself will never hit dealership forecourts. However, it is a fantastic example showing just how rugged the Japanese pickup can get. But with the Arctic Truck's AT35 specification hitting the market from £63,000 sans extreme camping equipment, we're not quite sure we would opt for it up against rivals in its price bracket.
After the break, the Pininfarina Battista is the latest all-electric hypercar to come out of the woodwork.
Welcome back. Coming up, what happens when a standard £400,000 Rolls-Royce Phantom simply will not do?
Making the most of vast government funding and an early start to new technology development, Chinese automakers like SAIC and BYD are main players in the electric vehicle market around the world. Indeed, these relatively new manufacturers may not have the rapport of traditional European brands here in the UK, but with the exceptionally aggressive pricing strategies, they're managing to outsell their established competitors. The BYD Dolphin, an all-electric hatchback hitting the market at £26,000, is a fantastic example of such. When the majority of other medium-sized compacts demand in excess of £30,000, the Dolphin is presenting as an attractive offering to many. For that price, you get a 44.9 kilowatt-hour battery in the active trim level, good for around 211 miles on a charge. If that isn't quite enough for you, £32,000 will get you a larger 60.4 kilowatt-hour battery, but range boosts by a mere 50 miles, so we would recommend the base edition. From the outside, the BYD Dolphin is far from an extravagant road user, with its sleek aerodynamic body optimising every last kilowatt and mile from the battery's range. Apart from a pair of wide headlights giving the car a surprised face, there are a few frills to speak of, so we do understand why the manufacturer offers a more interesting two-tone paint job. Inside, however, is a completely different story, as cool shapes, including vortex air vents, nice seats and a floating centre console, all make for an intriguing cabin. That being said, cheap-looking materials do somewhat limit our interest in the car. Moreover, the central touchscreen, whilst captivating for 5 minutes as it rotates by itself, is reputed for slow responsivity, if any, and fiddly menus. Much like most of the Dolphin, it appeals on surface level, but delve deeper, and its cheap construction show in full form. Simply put, this is an EV looking to undercut the market, all whilst attempting to hide its flaws, and doing so rather poorly, we might add. Worse yet for the Chinese model is that it's no longer the cheapest EV on the UK market.
Early this year, Dacia updated its Spring and brought it to the UK in right-hand drive form. With its £15,000 starting price, it may be a basic offering in class, but it presents itself in such an adorable way that we simply can't knock it. Indeed, it is a back-to-basics electric city car, making itself available to a wider audience, dropping frills for affordability. Though that does not mean that, unlike the BYD, the Spring needs a two-tone paint scheme to look good. A tall stance pairs with skinny dimensions to resemble the likes of Fiat's Panda, another popular people's car. It gets forward-thinking lighting pieces and boxy shapes for an overall style you might see in an imagining of the future. To the opposite of the BYD Dolphin, the Spring does get a very basic cabin with scratchy plastics, though the materials are not hidden within an over-the-top design. Small screen on the dash if the option is selected, simple air conditioning controls, a few buttons and some seats are all you get inside the Spring. And for short commutes, it's all you need. Despite more compact dimensions than its Chinese rival, the Spring's boot is just 45 litres smaller at 300 overall. But it does mean that nipping through traffic and squeezing into parking spaces will be that much easier. As a result, the Dacia Spring is definitely the car we would buy for any sort of regular city driving. However, with just a 26 kilowatt-hour battery and 140 miles of range, motorway miles and trips out of the city will require you to look towards a higher price bracket, where the BYD Dolphin resides.
Sat front Rolls-Royce motorcars for as long as the brand has been around, the Spirit of Ecstasy celebrates its 120th birthday this year. Paying tribute to the bewinged jewel that has decorated models throughout its history, the British luxury car maker has unveiled its latest special edition car, the Phantom Scintilla. As you can tell, only the largest, most commanding of Rolls-Royce models could adequately emphasise the Spirit of Ecstasy's importance. The Phantom may be a heavy car, but its physical weight is nicely balanced by light blue and silver colours, matching the illustrious radiator ornament's gracious design. Or so Rolls-Royce describes anyway. That feathery theme continues inside, where countless hours of design, cutting and stitching makes for a cabin full of dainty depictions. Indeed, the manufacturer claims each interior takes an immense 40 hours to put together, the near 870,000 stitches. Luckily then, for those putting this Scintilla Private Collection edition together, just 10 are set to be built. And just in case you were pondering putting down some cash in exchange for your own rare roller, every last one has, as the British Mark puts it, been allocated.
Once upon a time, automotive manufacturers designing and building their own bodywork was an uncouth process only undertaken by the most low-end of car makers. Instead, any company worth its salt would market its cars in chassis form, with a variety of external design houses available to create tailor-made bodies. Today, coach building is very much a forgotten art, meaning those companies like Mulliners and Pininfarina are changing the way that they do business. The latter, a famous Italian firm behind some of the prettiest sports cars in history, is making the most of the EV age to become a car manufacturer in its own right. But in line with its past, the wondrous name is not delving into the econobox world, nor is it catering to your local team of soccer mums and their oversized SUV fleet. No. Pininfarina is hitting the ground running in the car market with the Battista, a low-riding, impractical, but oh so stunning, all-electric hypercar. Coming from an outfit like Pininfarina, the Battista is obviously gorgeous, but under the shell and on paper, it is just as impressive. Packing a punch worth over 1,900 brake horsepower are a quartet of electric motors, one for each wheel, allowing for all-wheel drive capability and what seems like enough torque to fuse the atom. This all means that the Pininfarina is the fastest production car in the world over a quarter mile, last year completing the distance in just 8.55 seconds. It does so with a physics-breaking 0 to 62 time of 1.8 seconds and 217 miles per hour top speed. But despite these frankly ridiculous figures, the Batista's range is surely the most mind-boggling of them all, as it will still manage almost 300 miles on a charge. That's more than many more consumer-friendly electric cars. Sadly though, that is the main issue we have with the Pininfarina's modern creation, as it is far from accessible to the common Joe, costing over $2 million, with optional extras pumping that figure sky high. Though you needn't sulk for too long about the price, as with only 150 examples passing through the production line, even most that could afford one will not be getting their hands on an allocation.
Sadly, that is all we have time for this week, but do join us again next time when Lotus has a response to the Batista in a clash of the boutique electric hypercars.